One of my favorite things in the world to do is watch Friends. I know it's been off for years and years. It's not even around, but I still find myself binge watching old episodes. And I was thinking about this today and thinking, it's the predictability of the friends in the circle, right? You have Chandler with his quirkiness, Monica with her type A of just everything has to be so neat and tidy and organized. It's Phoebe's ability to make you laugh at her silly songs. Ross always comes in with those smart comments, and Joey and him and his food, like it is just so hilarious. And of course, Rachel, she just brings everybody together, and it's just such this beautiful, cohesive team of people. And it's why I wanted to come on and share with you today that I have an opportunity for you to find your friends in the content creation space. So if you are thinking about creating your first or your next digital course, I don't want you to miss this opportunity because Amy Porterfield just opened the doors for registration for her Course Confident Bootcamp. And I'm actually offering a special bonus for anyone that registers for the Course Confident Bootcamp through my special link. So I want you to go to crystalprofit.com/Amy-bootcamp to register. That's crystalprofit.com/Amy-bootcamp. And what you're going to find when you get there is I have this special bonus private podcast series. It's called Money Mindset for Creators. So I want you to go register for Amy's bootcamp, download the podcast, and immediately start listening to it, because what this training is set up to do is to help you get your mind right about monetizing your content, making money so that you can fuel your content creation dreams. So go to crystalprofit.com/Amy-bootcamp to register for Course Confident. And I cannot wait for you to find your friends and find the people that will be there for you. Do you see what I did there? Yeah, nice little friends segue connection. Go to crystalprofit.com/Amy-bootcamp. And I cannot wait to see you inside. Okay, let's get into today's episode. We are supported by Riverside. One of the things that drives me bonkers, it really does, is when I go to record an interview and everything looks great, right? Like in the moment, everything sounds great. You did your sound checks, all the video, everything looks fantastic. But then you go to download and it's just off, right? The video's grainy, the audio didn't turn out as well as you expected, and you just feel like you need to scrap the entire thing after you spent so much time finding the perfect guest or thinking about the perfect topic. Well, with Riverside, I never have to think about this. So Riverside is a platform that you can use to record your solo content or host guests for your podcast. And it is the best solution for anyone that's just getting started, or even if you're seasoned pro looking to make a switch this year. Head over to crystalprofit.com/Riverside and use the promo code Crystal15. That's crystalprofit.com/Riverside, promo code KRYSTAL15 to get an exclusive discount for the Profit Podcast listeners. Again, that's crystalprofit.com/Riverside and use promo code Crystal15. Okay, let's get into today's episode. So podcast coaching is one of those things that people are often curious about, but not really sure how it works. And so from time to time, I will do these rapid fire sessions where I literally hop on a call with multiple people individually, right? So this isn't like a group coaching setting. And I will just do exactly what it is, like rapid fire coaching. And it is so much fun. And so today I wanted to give you a peek behind the scenes from two coaching clients from 2023 where we dove into their questions and we just talked about the real life struggles that podcasters, content creators, and business owners face. So, if you are a podcaster or content creator, it is likely that you will face some of these challenges that we're going to get into in today's coaching calls, and you will be better prepared because all the conversations you're going to hear today. So, we're going to talk to Jacqueline and Lydia. One of them is going to have the perspective of a brand new podcaster, someone just getting started and launching their show, and then also a seasoned podcaster who is just trying to keep everything flowing, right? They already have their content going and they want to make sure that they're making the most out of all of their time as they get going on their content creation, their launches, and just running their everyday business, because these are the struggles that I often see podcasters and content creators working with. So let's get right to it. Welcome to the Profit Podcast, where we teach you how to start, launch, and market your content with confidence. I'm your host, Crystal Profit, and I'm so excited that you're here. Thanks for hanging out with me today, because if you've been trying to figure out the world of content creation, this is the show that will help be your time-saving shortcut. So let's get right to it, shall we? Yeah. So I already know a little bit about your backstory and we only have a few minutes. So let me know your top question that you have.
So I am planning to launch the podcast in February. So I guess in terms of pacing myself, I care more about the launch of it, actually, not necessarily getting it done, since I know I can get it done. It's more about strategically launching it and then monetizing it.
Okay. So the first thing, because I actually just had this question come up the other day, somebody was asking similar to like a book launch, like what does that look like? And I equate it to the same thing that you see a lot of people when they launch a book is about if you're using the strategic approach of having a long launch runway, then typically I would start about 90 days before you know you're going to launch. So especially you're going to launch in February, then that gives you till November to have a plan of exactly what you're going to do and then start promoting in November. And I know you're like, okay, that sounds like a little early to start doing it, but what will happen is when you start putting stuff out now, it's not a surprise when you actually launch in February. I don't think that you need to start promoting actively right now. You can absolutely share it with your audience and say, hey, like I just chose my podcast launch date. It's coming in February. You could put out your, trailer right now if you wanted to, but the way that I would recommend doing it is drop your trailer in November as some time, whenever you decide it's the right time for you. Drop the trailer, have people listening to that trailer and leaving reviews, because the sooner that you do that, it will allow you to start building momentum, have people that maybe you've worked with in the past or previous customers, clients, whoever it is, just reach out and say, hey, I got to ask a favor. I would love for you to leave a review. Let me know what you're excited about. Like, give them a strategic call to action, not just go leave me a review, because people are like, you don't have a podcast officially out yet. Like, what am I reviewing here? So you could say, leave a review on the one thing that you're most excited to see about the podcast, or the thing that you want to learn, or what you can't wait to, dive into with me, because that will also give you social proof for when you do launch and you can say, hey, we already have this many reviews, but it's also going to give you some content ideas for what you can talk about in the future. And maybe there are things that you hadn't even thought about, but now you're seeing like a trend, like, oh, I had 3 people mention the same thing. I never even thought about talking about that. So it plays many different roles in launching, but that's specifically why you would want to do it.
No, I like that. I did do the trailer. I was very proud of myself. Put it on Canva. I just have to put some music behind it.
Awesome.
I sent it to a few of my friends and family, but my clients who are all like, oh my God, like I can't wait. And like,
Yes.
so I'm definitely I wanted to kind of know, like, I've teased my audience in terms of, something's coming. It's a passion project. So I didn't want to say it just yet. I kind of wanted, like, people like, are you writing a book? And like all of these
Yeah.
things. So I didn't know if it was too soon to tell them, but now I might in the next few weeks be like, hey, remember when I was talking about what I'm launching
Mhm.
in February? Show the trailer, and then I'll do what you did. Maybe I'll do that actually like closer to November, then ask them to leave a review in terms of like what you want to see, so I can start creating
Yes.
content. So I didn't realize that they can write a review even when there's only a trailer and there's no episode.
Yes, they can do that. And what you should do is enlist them to your podcast launch team. So I did this similar thing whenever I launched a book. So think of it as you're launching a book, you're launching a podcast, and people have book launch teams all the time. What does your podcast launch team look like? So not only are they going to help you by leaving a rating and a review, but they're also going to tell other people, and you're going to say, okay, here's the plan. Like, I would love your support. I would love for you to help me, but you're going to have everything laid out. I have inside my program, I have swipe copy that's like email that you can use to like, hey, this is my launch squad. This is what you need to share. These are the graphics that we need to put out there. These are the emails that I'm going to be writing. Here's how to tell people exactly what you need them to do. Because if it's very generic, people are like, oh, like I want to support her, but I don't know it. But if you lay it out step by step, do this on this date and do this on this date. And then we're going to do a giveaway or whatever else you're going to do to promote it once it goes live. Having those step by steps, this is what is happening. This is the day that it's happening. Everybody's just a lot clearer, and you're more likely to get results that way when it's just everything is out on the table.
Do you have to have, because my only thing is that like my clients are not entrepreneurs. They're, women with family, and they're coming to me to lose weight. So I don't necessarily feel like I want them to use word of mouth, but I don't necessarily want to give them kind of like how Amy gives us. Like that doesn't feel like I would do that with them.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, there's different ways that you could ask them to support. So let's say it's the reviews, right? That's first and foremost. You'd say, this is how to leave a review. This is what to say, all the things. The next piece would be if they know someone. This is another way they can support you. Do you know someone that I need to interview? Can you tell me? Like, let me know. Or is there someone else that I need to get connected with? Because what you can do is strategically align your first few episodes when you launch them to be guest interviews, and you're having that guest promoting the launch. So let's say you decide to launch with one episode. That's going to give you the ability for your audience to listen to you and share it and all the things. But if you launch with a solo episode and an interview episode with, let's say, a fancy guest or someone that has a larger audience, and you ask them, hey, this is actually going to be the second episode. It's going to be launching on this date. I would love it if you and your team or, whoever's behind the scenes can help us promote this, because we're trying to, really boost up the podcast when it first launches. That's another thing that you can consider as well, is how can I lean on my network in creative ways to get the information out there?
I feel like that feels better. I did reach out to 13 colleagues, just I was like getting it out, and 11 of them already said yes, and I'm scheduling.
Yes.
And most of them have big audiences. So
Yes.
like, some 250,000, some with 40,000. I'm 45. So like it definitely was like, okay, that feels good.
Well, then maybe that's who you would need to enlist on your launch squad instead of your audience. It's these other people that maybe between now and when this launches, you record those episodes and you can say, hey, we're launching this thing. I'm trying to make the launch a really big deal. Can you just tease out to the audience? You could send them the graphic, you could send them the swipe copy, whatever you want them to say. And can you post this in your story? Like, this is when the podcast is going live, and then tease out, this is the actual date that my interview is going live. So tune in now, and then, just hang on, because I'm going to have my episode and then I'll share about it. So that's another way that you can enlist other people to share about the podcast even before their episode is officially out. Because I know I've done this with other people. Like, people in the podcast community are usually pretty supportive and they want to like, yeah, sure. I like, just tell me exactly what to do. But that's what it goes back to is people need to know exactly how they can support you and they're more likely to do it.
Definitely want to use video because I want to repurpose when I feel like I have the bandwidth to hire a team to do kind of like YouTube and things. So I figured like might as well have it instead of just audio only. So, and then when you schedule them, do you have, I really don't want to do scripted. I feel like I'm better just natural flow and just have like questions, but not necessarily like kind of just let it happen. But in terms of like for your own sanity, because it's hard managing with like other people's schedules. I have clients, I have a baby, all of these things. Do you do it on like certain days or kind of right now? I'm just like whatever works for them. And if it works for me, I don't have like Amy's like Tuesdays are my video days because I'm always in a mom bun. Like this is what you're
Yeah. I do. Typically it's by the quarter. I'll look at the quarter and say, do I want to do interviews this quarter? Okay, what months? And I will block off and I'll say, well, 2 months out of this quarter, I'm not doing any interviews whatsoever. So I may in a 12-month period only have 4 months that I'm doing interviews. And I will not do any interviews in November and December. It's not going to happen. I typically I will pick off March to not do interviews because I have spring break with the kids. So it just comes down to, I use Calendly, and within Calendly, you can click your availability and I just set it at a quarter at a time and say, this is when people can book. If they can't book, then they can't. And we have to wait. So it's having that boundary. But I just looked and we're already at time. This went by so fast.
Oh, well, for a party gift, can I see your Calendly for like how you set it up in terms of like the paragraph? And do you have any questions that you ask them?
Yeah, I'll send you some screenshots. Yeah. Cause I have another call that just started.
Okay. Yeah, not a problem.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you so much for your questions and for doing this. This was fun.
Yeah. And thank you for having me.
Yes. I'll talk to you later. Bye.
Bye.
How are you?
I'm good. So I couldn't honestly remember what I signed up for.
Yeah. You're like, what did I do?
Well, I just panicked because I was like, am I supposed to be on this like hour-long thing? And then she gets to me. I could not remember.
It's 10 minutes. We got 10 minutes to chat.
Fabulous.
These are fast and furious. These are great. I've already had 3 already. I'm like, oh, these are so fast. So let's just jump in. I already was reading up on all the stuff that you have. So what is your specific question that I can help you with today?
Being a woman in business comes with its own unique set of challenges, but also so many opportunities. We get ahead by leaning in to what makes us different from business as usual. I'm Samantha Hartley, host of Profitable Joyful Consulting, inviting you to a special 6-episode series exploring the experience of being a woman in business. You want to hear from women consultants who've hit $1 million, who sell 6-figure engagements, or who've broken their own revenue ceilings? Yeah, those are my clients, and they'll be sharing too. Join me for 6 must-listen episodes that tackle key challenges for women consultants.
Follow Profitable Joyful Consulting on your favorite podcast app.
I think it's just honestly speed.
Yeah.
Like I got to be honest. I started off with a bang, 2 episodes a week, and then 1 a week, and then 1 a month, and then 1 every 2 to 3 months. And I just died there for a while because I'm like, I can't even think that hard anymore. I don't want to, it's just too much. Yeah. So you plan it, edit it, post it, share it, write it. I'm like, I can't do that and launch and make money. Right.
Yeah.
But I have come back around since August. I have recorded 5 podcasts since August 1st.
Fantastic.
So it's getting better. But if I didn't have a team doing all the things, I'm sorry, y'all who do it by yourself, I think you're crazy.
Yeah. Well, okay. So the first thing that I'm thinking of is you are launching. You're constantly launching.
Constantly launching things.
And I'm thinking of how can you incorporate, because I struggled with this too whenever I was doing a lot of live streaming all the time. And I didn't have time for a lot of interviews or solo content. So I use my live streaming content as my podcast episode. So it could just be a matter of lowering the bar of expectations of what the podcast should be and saying, no, this is what the podcast is. It's evolving with me. I'm continuously evolving my business, my team, and maybe it's your team members taking over for an episode a month and saying, hey, we're here to share, Lydia wanted us to talk about this. Here's what we're seeing inside our business. So just reframing it from what you think it's supposed to be to what actually fits for your business.
That's good to hear, because that's pretty much what I've been doing. I went live to deliver an AI training. I went live to deliver a Kajabi training. And I'm like, they are going to be podcasts.
Yes. Perfect. No, I think that that's fantastic, especially because you hit so many different audience. And I don't know if your podcast is specific to.
Yeah, it's more the launch creation, online business strategies. So, but I definitely do digital systems and tech.
Yes.
Because people love to learn that from me too. So it is definitely a little hodgepodge.
But I think that's great for the trainings that you're doing. Like I've repurposed talks that I did. I was like, I don't know what to talk about. Oh, look, I did this talk. I literally have my outline in front of me. I've already done it. I've practiced it.
That's what I'm saying. I'm teaching all the time. I'm like, why am I not just grabbing clips from things and turning it into a podcast?
Yes. Like really, like think about it in, this is my definition of a podcast, not this is everybody else's definition. Why is mine not the same? It's no, this is what I can manage. This is what I can do, and repurpose the heck out of everything that you're creating. Zoom calls, you're doing live.
Well, that's what I was going to say. I'm really, really good at answering people's questions live. Like, have you ever done an episode where it's like, or hopped on a Zoom and you're asking like 6 questions with people, or people putting questions on my Facebook group when they come in? I thought about just grabbing like 5 of those and making it a podcast.
Yes. So I have one that I'll do this where, so the first thing I would, because I know you love a system, is setting up like someone on your team, like once a month or once a week, however often. And that's their task, is to go and grab, if you see recurring questions, it's like, Lydia, this is your next podcast episode. So when you sit down to record, you're able to just like, all right, we're doing rapid fire questions today. I call it questions from the community and I don't even just, whenever I didn't really have a big Facebook group, I would go into other Facebook groups and grab questions that I was like, oh, somebody asked this question. It was so good. Let's talk about it today. Yes. So there's not as much planning and outlining. It's like, no, I'm just sitting down.
That is so stressful and so time consuming. I don't know what I'm thinking. Like I could answer questions all day long on the spot.
Yeah.
Why am I not just doing that?
Yes, that's what you should do. Just change the format of everything that you're doing, and it will help you settle into that, especially if you're already, because most people aren't really good. And I wouldn't tell a lot of people to do that, but because you're used to it and it's what you do so naturally, then stop fighting, get like you're wrestling with, got to have an outline. I got to have it planned. I have to have this strategic, all these things. It's like, settle into what you're good at and then tell your team like, hey, this is how we're rolling through this month. I'm going to take this and repurpose it. Give me 5 questions from the community. Give me 25 minutes and I'm just going to go and I'm going to answer as many as I can.
Because if I just have 5 questions to answer, I don't even have to plan. I can literally hit record and just answer them.
Exactly.
But me sitting here coming out with what should the outline be? And then I record and then I'm like, I don't like it. Like,
yes, exactly. No, 100%. And to take the pressure off of you, if you do better in that live environment too, is go live in your Facebook group and tell people
I've been doing that more. Definitely.
This is, because you're part of this group, you get the behind the scenes. So it's an even like extra added bonus of being part of your community, that they get that exclusive content first and then you strip it out. And that's your podcast episode.
I'm so glad to hear that is what is okay.
Stop fighting your natural urges. For me
so much better for sure.
Yes. Especially if you have a team member that can be dedicated to like, hey, this is just your recurring task. You're going to grab questions from the group, throw them in a Google Doc, throw them somewhere that it makes sense for you to plan it. And then I'm going to sit down. Make yourself, this is where I do see people falling short though. You have to give yourself a time constraint and stick to it. So even if you sit down and let's say you had 10 questions in front of you and you only get to 3, but you're really supposed to stop at 25 minutes and you're like, oh, I could keep going. Nope. You stop. and then
Yeah.
you start another one. You could still keep going in that
Yeah.
same recording session, but you
Yep.
stop it and you don't make it an hour-long episode. You make it a 25-minute episode, and then you have two or
But
three.
what do you call them? Like, do you still pick a title that's kind of the vein of the questions? Because you don't just call them rapid fire questions as your podcast title, I'm assuming.
No, I would still, what you could do is group them together if there's a common theme. So let's say you found 10 questions and 3 of them were about AI. Then you could say, okay, these are we had 3 questions from the community all about AI. Here's my rapid fire answer. And then they had questions about digital courses. And this one, so kind of get whoever is grabbing these questions, like the requirements is grab me 10 questions. I need them grouped with a topic and give that to your team. Like, hey, I'm giving you creative freedom to help me outline these. And I need a topic and I need some questions to ask. And then you could even go as far as having that team member reach out to them. This is a fun thing that I've done a few times and asking people, would you like to submit an audio clip? Because Lydia wants to answer this on the podcast. So when you're starting,
that's cute.
It's a dynamic that is different. So, but it's easier for you as the host because it's not an interview. You have the audio clip, you listen to it, and then you're like, okay, Lydia had a question about this. Here's how I would answer. Lydia, if you're listening, this is how I would answer you. So it's like you'll have more people submitting audio clips and saying, I want to be on the podcast. So it's like this system that makes things a lot easier. And for you, it's not an interview. It's not something else you have to put on your calendar. It's incoming content.
Okay. I'm going to have to at least start doing some of those because I think those would go well.
I'm going to send it to you. It is called Pod Inbox, and I have Pod Inbox. It's like, if you've ever heard of SpeakPipe, it's like that. Let me put it in the chat. Oh, where is the chat? The chat disappeared on me. Profit.
Is it like an audio recording that they can submit or something?
So that's my affiliate link. I put it in the chat, but if you go to, I want you to go, you can go look at mine for the Profit podcast.
I think I might have seen it. Yeah.
But, you can go, geez, see, we're already at time.
Yep. I got it. Tell me is it all on Crystal Profit?
Yeah. So it's podinbox.com/the Profit.
Oh yeah, that I got. But what's your website? I want to see it on your website.
Oh yeah. So it's not integrated on my website. It's
got it.
There.
Okay.
So that's what I use to do it. You can integrate it. I just haven't. I just leave it on there.
Okay, cool.
So check that out. Make it easier for yourself. That's the conclusion we have here.
Thank
Make
you.
It easier. You're so welcome. I'll talk to you soon. Bye, Lydia.
Take care, hon.
Bye. So what did you think? Those were incredible. I had so much fun doing these rapid fire 10-minute sessions, and I can't wait to do this again. So if you're watching on the YouTube video, then tell me in the comments below if we should do the rapid fire questions, because what I did last time and how this worked is I sent out my Calendly link and I think it was 6 or 8 slots open, and that was it. And that was it. Like once they were gone, they were gone. They were first come, first serve. They were free. I do these for free every once in a while. So let me know in the comments if this is something that you want to see more of, because again, like I said, we had so much fun and I can't wait to do them again. This year, we may make them a quarterly thing. I don't know. I hope that you're on our weekly newsletters so that you can get all of the updates for whenever we do stuff like this. This one in particular was actually shared in our free Profit Podcast Facebook group. So we want to make sure that you've joined our community there, because that is typically where I will share these first. And then if all the slots haven't been filled, we'll share it out to our weekly newsletter community. But again, so much fun. If you have questions that you're just like, well, Crystal, you barely scratched the surface on this one topic and I need you to go deeper, then reach out to me. Let me know. Send me a DM, put a comment on the YouTube video, or, write us an email, crystal@crystalprofit.com. I would be happy to explore some of these topics with you. Or if you just want to know more about coaching, then go to my website, go to crystalprofit.com, and right up there at the top, you're going to see a link to explore what coaching looks like with me. If you had a little taste today and you're like, gosh, I really want Crystal to look at my launch strategy. Tell me where I'm maybe missing the mark in my content. Maybe it's a production workflow. Maybe it's just, hey, you need to outsource some of your stuff, or your content isn't clicking, or you're not having fun with what you're creating. I would love to help you. So again, go to crystalprofit.com and you can find all about our coaching packages. We have one that's a deep intensive where I will go and audit all of your content and make sure, we're talking about, it's a deep, deep dive. Like, there's a reason why this package is so popular, because I go and I listen to your podcast. I will go watch your YouTube channels. I will go download your lead magnet, look at your website, and go through all of your funnels and give you honest feedback from a content strategist perspective. But that's one option, is to go the full route of having your content audited and getting coaching sessions. Or if you're like, Crystal, I just want an hour of your time. I just want to have a power hour session. Like, let's just get into the nitty gritty. Maybe it's with editing, maybe it's workflows, maybe it's just planning out the rest of your content for this entire year. Then reach out to me. I would love to help you. But that's all I have for you today. So again, go to crystalprofit.com to check out our coaching packages. And as always, remember, keep it up. We all have to start somewhere. Hey, Profit Podcast listeners. Thanks for sticking around to a little bit after the episode to hear this special message, because I want to hear from you. We are starting a new segment called Fan Mail Shoutouts, and I want to hear from you, and I want to hear your questions. What do you want to know? What questions have you been dying to ask me? So here's how to make this happen. Go to the app where you're listening to this podcast right now. Go there. I'll wait a second. Okay. Now, once you're there, you're going to see a hyperlink at the top of the episode description that says, send Crystal a text message. And that's all I want you to do. Send me a text. It could be casual, informal. It could be totally anonymous. Or if you want, you can include your name and the name of your podcast or content wherever you are creating, and I will give you a special shout out in an upcoming episode. So again, go to the show notes for where you're listening to this episode right now, and it will say, send Crystal a text message. And I cannot wait to hear from you and give you a shout out in an upcoming segment of Fan Mail Shoutouts.